The war in Europe is in full force. The British and Russian Empire are fighting together versus the German and Austro-Hungarian Empire. The Russians have launched a major offensive out of Ukraine into Hungary, they outnumber the Austro-Hungarians almost 3-1. At the same time, the British have joined the Russian defenders in eastern Poland and standing against a force of Germans and Austro-Hungarians, both coming in from two directions and having a significant numerical advantage. At the same time, the main Russian Baltic fleet is back in Kronstadt. We are still trying to intercept and take out these three battleships. We have, however, managed to catch a convoy, 8 of our destroyers versus 1 light cruiser and 3 destroyers of the Russian Empire on this convoy intercept in the Baltic Sea. In fact, as it turns out, the reports have been wrong. It was one of our convoys that is being escorted by a group of destroyers that is coming under attack from a Russian task force. Obviously, the Novik is going to be the biggest problem, so we will see how we can respond with this destroyer group. With the transports disengaging towards the west, 2 destroyer groups of 4 are racing towards the threat and will try to deter the attacking cruisers and destroyers and prevent this raid from succeeding. We have located multiple smoke screens, so the first destroyer group is going to turn out and lay smoke themselves. While, what do we have here? Is that the light cruiser? That is the light cruiser. Everybody target the light cruiser. First destroyer group lay smoke. Second destroyer group comes in from the other side. Lay smoke as well. And we will try to engage. We'll get both groups to turn. We should have the numerical advantage. I'm just concerned about torpedoes, because we haven't spotted the enemy destroyers. They might not have spotted us either. So this would be, I think they are in torpedo range. So we'll definitely see what we can achieve here. That's I think that's an enemy destroyer. So yeah, there comes the first group of bunch of torpedoes. So we do have to be somewhat careful not to run into those. Managing torpedoes is going to be a major pain in this endeavor. We don't have an identification yet, but obviously we have to be a little bit careful with both groups here not to run into each other. Oh, there comes some more torpedoes. So that destroyer needs to turn. Hard turn to avoid those. These are probably fired by the light cruiser. So drop speed and hard turn should be able to. This could get hairy with this torpedo here. This might actually full speed ahead. Turn the other way. Turn the other way. Hard turn. Hard over. And it's a dud. Okay. We got really lucky here because we didn't. That could have gone a lot worse. Okay, second destroyer group. Try to focus on the light cruiser. That thing is the most dangerous. The other destroyer group. We are sending torpedoes of our own, but honestly, it's too chaotic that for me to actually keep an eye on who's doing what and where. So we'll try to close in with the second group and see if we can inflict some damage on that light cruiser. That thing is what concerns me most, but it's only got destroyer level guns. So, and he's disengaging, probably running away from torpedoes. So with everybody firing their torpedoes, there's another torpedo threat incoming. I might have to. I think she will be alright. V-24 should be okay. Oh, there come some more torpedoes. I think V-24 might be in trouble, but I don't think we can dodge actually. We just have to hope that we can get past them or that they're duds. And the rest of you, yeah, everything's smoked up. We actually have no visibility on any kind of targets. Oh, we've got a torpedo hit on one of the enemy destroyers. Nicely done. In the smoke. Smoke screens are torpedo magnets. And another torpedo hit. So I think that went relatively well. I think our destroyers, actually V-24 has made it out in the clear. So second destroyer group, close in back again on the light cruiser and try to target that thing if you can catch it. Well, the other group, oh yeah, need to dodge return torpedoes and try to take down this. This destroyer has taken 2 torpedoes, but it's actually, is that a destroyer? Yeah, it's surprisingly little damage actually. Okay, make sure we're dodging these torpedoes. Yes, torpedoes dodged. So straighten out the rudder and take that thing under fire. See if you can finish that off. Second group is taking, nope, these are torpedoes going away. Giving chase on the light cruiser, all ahead flank, and see if we can catch that thing. Just make sure you're not running into those torpedoes. I'm not sure they have range, but we'll need to turn out from there. The other group is giving a stern chase on this destroyer, which has surprisingly little damage given that she's taken 2 of our torpedoes. So something hasn't really worked out with our torpedoes all that well as I thought it would be. So let's see if we can get some work done here with the guns. The destroyers are not the most powerful ones, but we might be able to. This thing does not have to is out of torpedoes, so we'll see if any one of us has torpedoes ready. Then we should be able to do something. Otherwise, we might try and sink him with the 105s. These are relatively heavily armed, actually. Bunch of small caliber guns. That's the other group up to. Okay, give chase on the light cruiser. And V-24. Did V-24 take a torpedo? This is all spotting. I think no. I'm not sure actually. Let's see. We are trying to give chase on the Novik, the light cruiser here. Our main purpose is also to keep these away from the transports, and the transports are disengaging the other direction. We have lost sight of the other destroyers, however, which is a little bit concerning. So I am almost considering get the first group to turn about. Can we do something about this destroyer? The Gavril, she seems to be going for a ram actually. That might not actually be a terrible idea, and I haven't paid attention, so I can't really avoid it. But let's see if V-14 can get away before. Yeah, she's managed to avoid the ram, and we'll see if we can finish off this destroyer. There are some torpedoes running there. I am considering to give up chasing the light cruiser, because that's not going to get us anywhere, and get the second group back towards the transports and make sure they intercept while these guys are trying to finish off that destroyer, which we are managing to get some gun hits here, but it's not a. That torpedo is still going. Yeah, it's still going. We're managing to get some gun hits in here, but it's not a great. We're not great. The destroyers are not greatly effective if they don't have their torpedoes ready. And all of them are currently reloading, so we're going to get this. We're going to get second group to the light cruiser is. Yeah, I don't want to engage the light cruiser in a gunfight with these destroyers if possible. We don't have smoke ready, and we don't have torpedoes ready. So for now, we'll just disengage towards the transports and make sure the light cruiser doesn't get anywhere near, while the other group is turning about and is still chasing that one, chasing the Gavril. This might be quite a long battle. Okay, we have reacquired the third, what is this? Mikluko Makley. And so we've got 2 destroyers out of 3 spotted, and the light... Oh, okay, we've got all the destroyers spotted. Good, good. So we can actually get the first group to target this thing, and get the second group to give chase on the Gavril. Oh, we've suffered a flash fire on the V19. That is unfortunate. Yeah, the magazines on the V19 have detonated, and I think that will spell her doom, because there is... Yeah, she's sinking. So we have lost... we've lost 1 destroyer due to a magazine explosion, which means we're probably going to get everybody to first focus on this and get this group to lay smoke. Get the second group to focus on that as well. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Let's make sure that we're not running into each other's torpedoes here, and that we're not running into the sinking V19. After a confused engagement with many near collisions, we have managed to sink the Kazanets. Unfortunately, the Makley, I'm going to call it that, and especially the Novik are still out there, and our destroyers are starting to take some severe damage. We're going to smoke up once more, and are going to try and focus our fire at the enemy light cruiser, but the transports at this point should hopefully be far away enough that we might be able to disengage without any further losses on our side, and we might get away with just some damaged destroyers. With the sun setting on the horizon behind the smoke that all the destroyers and cruisers have laid, V-29 and her group have disengaged from the Russians. It has been an even trade, but given that we've been in a numerical superiority, well, we've been up against the light cruiser as well. You could argue that our destroyers have not necessarily been the best gunboats, and we might need to revisit our designs going forward. As such, our High Command considers the battle close, but still a defeat, given that we had the numerical advantage over the enemy, and that we've only managed to sink 1 of them for the loss of 1 of our own. Given that the performance of our destroyers was less than satisfactory, especially the torpedoes haven't quite been working as well as I thought they were going to do, maybe we need a gunboat destroyer. So what I'm thinking is to give this thing a single twin torpedo launcher here. Or maybe actually in the rear, that gives a better angles. So we could put a torpedo launcher in the rear, and then the rest we're going to, as much as possible, we'll see how possible that'll be, we'll focus on gunfire power. So let's put a turret down, a tower down. And we're going to need a secondary tower, and I'll work out the positioning of everything as we go. Right, and this is going to be the V30. Actually, I'm going to change that a little bit. No, we're not going to go to Z's yet, but I'm going to call it the X30 just to start distinguish. Otherwise, I'm going to get confused with all those numbers. These things have an optimal speed of 34 knots, so that's what we're going to go for. 34 knots, please. We're going to go for many bulkheads. Not for maximum. That'll give us a little bit more weight to play with. I mean, it's only 22 tons, but it adds up, and we only have 1,400 tons. It's definitely going to be the largest destroyer that we're building. I think the where is it? Yeah, these were 750 tons, and the V16s were 1,100 tons. So the X30s are going to be a somewhat somewhat larger class. Okay, we're gonna get them oil or semi-oil. We'll see what we can get away with. And we definitely want turbine engines. We want shafts. We want a unbalanced rudder for best turning rate. And we're going to compensate that with... we could go for electric steering actually on these. It's going to have it's going to increase ship flaws because it's an advanced technology, but and we now actually have diesel auxiliaries, so that's probably not a bad thing to do either. I'm not too concerned about cost, more about the battle efficiency of these things. Although that's obviously going to blow out the time it's going to take. It's not that bad. Maybe we will throw maximum bulkheads into that. And we obviously want Group 3 armor, double bottom hull, reinforced bulkheads, anti-flood, and 19-inch torpedoes, standard torpedo ammunition, and we are going to go for a coincidence rangefinder. They do gonna get sonar and gonna get some radios to communicate with the flagship of the group. Not planning to use these for mine laying, so we'll give them the mine sweeping and the depth charges for anti-submarine warfare, but they're not going to be on mine laying duty, so they just get the mine sweeping equipment. Okay. Now, how many funnels are we going to need on this thing? Can we actually even fit? We can't even fit this funnel on here. It's too thick, is it? We can fit this one. We could fit 2 of that, or even smaller 2 of that. Unless we could put 1 of these. Can we fit them up top? No. Can we fit this one on top? No. So this is the only place where we can put them. So put the funnel here, and then we could go for we could for balanced boilers. What's the difference between induced? That gives 20% smoke interference and 25% funnel capacity. That actually reduces the... Oh, this is nice. I'm going to take this. This reduces the smoke interference while increasing the funnel capacity. And then we could even go with the... cheaper funnel, because we still have a decent engine efficiency. I'm going to go with this one. I do like to have a bit of extra engine efficiency because of frequent maneuvering. Alright, which brings us to the guns. Now, I'm thinking, can I actually fit... Yes, I can actually fit side-mounted 150s onto these things. So what I'm thinking here... Okay, let's go forward. The main guns, we could take 127s. They are a little bit more punchy, but they have the same as the 105, but they are Mark IIs, whereas the 102 maybe we'll stick with the 102s. So single barrel 100. We're going to make it a 105 millimeter, and we can put a second one. This is actually not ideal. Can I stick a barbette into that? Super firing barbette. No, I cannot. I can only stick barbettes onto the rear. Okay. So we could put a second torpedo launcher in here, to be honest, for close range engagements. And maybe that's not a terrible idea. So let's put a second torpedo launcher in here and see how many guns we can still get onto the ship, especially if we can move that tower as far forward as it goes. We should be able to stick another one of these over here. Yes. And we can move it back a little bit. That funnel does get in the way, but that's okay. We've got a second one. We do have a forward weight offset, but we'll be putting stuff on the rear. So I'm going to move the mast over here for now and see how much we can put in the rear. So we can get a super firing barbette here. And then we can get another one of those. I would like to have at least 4 of those, and then see if we can throw a couple of smaller guns in still on the side. Alternatively, we could put that a little bit further rearwards, and if we have the displacement, do a second barbette here, which then of course means that this one is somewhat restricted in its firing arcs, but it's not too bad. And we've still got a forward weight offset, so we can still move these rearwards. So I can move these a little bit to the back, because that one's super firing. So this now affects, okay, not too much, otherwise it affects the firing arcs. Yeah, this is fine, and then this one's got the best arcs it can have. So now let's see how much we've got available still. I do want like a 35mm. I kind of like 35mm all around. The Russians had 127 mils, so they can do. If they're firing armor piercing, they are definitely going to. We can't armor the destroyer too much. We can do like 20mm or 30mm forward and aft, and instead do a 40mm main belt. And then they are not going to fire at ranges, so we can probably get away with a 15mm and 10mm, more like splinter decks, honestly. And 25mm on the superstructure there. No turret armors on the sides. Plus 3mm. Nope, plus 3mm, please. Oh, plus 3 there. Got 105mm. We could make these a bit longer, but then they're not going to fit. So probably really, I mean, we're talking about engagement ranges of, maybe we give them like 5% length. What are they now? 33 calibers. And they can, that means they can actually start firing at 7,500 meters. I mean, they're not going to hit anything at 7,500 meters, but it gives them a bit better range, and we've still got 200 tons to play with. So I want, let's see if I can fit 55mm anywhere on the, no, I don't think I can fit them next to the barbettes, unfortunately, because we don't have the space for that. Obviously not getting in the way of the torpedo launchers here, but I was kind of hoping I could find a spot to fit these things in. That would kind of work, but without any gun angles. What if we increase the beam by 5% and make this a bit more? Would that work? Yes, that would work, and we can start putting 55mm guns on the sides here. Can fit another one here between the barbettes. That's why I was putting them there. And I think they're not negatively, and we can fit another one. How are we on displacement? We're getting there. We just need to reduce the displacement to 1400 there. Okay, and we've still got some space to spare. So we now we still got forward weight offset. So let's push the torpedo tubes as far backwards as we can. That'll give us some more. That will give us some more space that we can move things backwards to. And we can move everything a little further back. And there. It's trying to balance the ship out a little bit more. I'm going to take these off for now and just move everything a little bit further back until we have the ship somewhat balanced. That'll also improve the arcs potentially on this one. And I'll put the 88s back onto it. So the 50s. So hopefully these guns, can I fit another one here? Next to the funnel? No, that would be a negative. However, I can fit the one here and the one here. Can we get another one in here? No, it's getting too thin towards the rear. Okay. So we'll find something else to put. So we do have We do have a whole bunch of 50 millimeters, and we can give these 50 mils, can give these as much barrel length as we can. So these things are not really effective on anything beyond 2,500 meters, but they should have a relatively blistering fire rate. Yeah, they are running almost 11.5 rounds per minute. So this should be a somewhat more effective gunboat destroyer, I would almost argue. Can I fit another set of these anywhere? Let's see. Anything next to the torpedo? No, I can't. Obviously not next to the torpedo launchers, Terry. How's that gonna work? No, I think we're good on these. So what do we do with the remaining displacement? First of all, what are we gonna put for in ammo? So let's see. The 105s have a penetration of 50 millimeters at 2.5 kilometers. What are we currently running? Semi-armor piercing, actually. That is almost good enough to hit cruisers with these things, but the HE penetration is terrible. So this is only good for setting fires. That said, the semi-armor piercing should have enough of a punch to, well, not on the 51s, however. So the 51s would really not be able to punch through much. We could go for semi-cap ballistic. That gives the 51s 30 millimeters of penetration at ideal angles. That should be enough to hurt enemy destroyers, and it gives a little bit more punch to these guys. And we can leave the HE on high capacity, which means it has absolutely no penetration, but they're very, very good at setting fires. So even if we're firing at something larger that is a bit more heavily armored, we can actually potentially set some fires with this thing. We're still having forward weight offset. Let's see if we can move that turret further back. The center turret, that's as far as it goes. Can we move the superstructure a little bit to the rear? Well, I don't want to get into the. We are getting really into the firing arcs of the center gun here, so I'd rather give it somewhat decent firing arcs, and we might be able to move these backwards a bit. Okay, hang on. Let's remove them and place them again, but as far back as we can. There we go. Still 2% forward weight offset. I think that's just something we're going to have to live with, unless we try to balance it out with the armor, because I still have 100 tons of displacement left. So I think I've thrown pretty much everything into this thing already that I have. Oh yes, we have actually better propellants now. So cordite is terrible because cordite tends to explode, but we have tube powder, which reduces the ammo detonation chance, and although it also reduces, I think, the punch of the gun. So we'd have to double check our penetration. I think penetration is good. Yeah, penetration is still good. So actually no, this improves the penetration, but takes a bit more weight. So now our because we did lose a destroyer to flash fires last time, it's greatly reduced. And we should actually have barbettes, but I don't see any specific barbette armor. So, oh well. Okay, what else could we do? We've got 19-inch torpedoes. We could do enhanced reloading. That's probably great. And we could do advanced hydraulic turrets. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want any more ship flaws if we can avoid it. And that, in a nutshell, is pretty good. So we can throw the remaining. How much can we put on the main belt? Okay, 38 millimeter is the thickest main belt we can do. So make that 37.5. And then let's throw the rest into. Let's see how thick we can make these. So 37.5 millimeter forward and aft. So let's do it 37.5 all around, which makes them a little bit more. I don't think they need that much on the deck. because again, they're not going to be hit from long ranges. What is the deck penetration of these guns? Yeah, it's ridiculously low. So 15mm deck, that should be sufficient. How much can we put on the conning tower? That much. How much can we put on the superstructure? So let's do the same thing here. 37.5. And then we can actually give these turrets some armor so that we don't lose them. So that's a 40mm. And how much can we get on the top? Right, surprising amount. Let's make that 65. And the small guns, they don't have any armor. they're open. There's no armor. There's blast. We could give it blast shields. Let's give. No, we can't actually put any on it. Yes, because it doesn't have any. Well done, game. Okay, so surprisingly, we are going in for. We can use the rest of the weight to increase the range a little bit on these things. That would be too much, but this will do. Alternatively, we could make them a bit faster as well. So what would it look like with 35 knots? 35 knots. We're starting to stress the engines and starting to lose our stability a bit. Yeah, let's leave it to 34 and just give him more range. Now these come in at a cost of 10 million compared to the almost twice the cost for the V16s, but significantly more powerful gunboats. And I think in like these kind of convoy destroyer engagements, having the gunboat capability might not be terrible. Let's see if we can have a good look at this ship. Can we find an angle from which we can actually look at it? That'll have to do. So there we are, the X-30 class of gunboat destroyers. Has some torpedo firepower, but has a lot of firepower on those guns and hopefully can stand up to these Soviet destroyers a little better in the future. And that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.